Welcome to the Crochet Cove with Kat. We're working on a really fun project today that I love crocheting. So let's get started. It's a chevron type pattern. We're going to need two different colors. So I've chosen Glacier and a multi blue print from I Love This Yarn. They're both the same brand and they're worsted weight yarn. I'm using a 5mm crochet hook. And as far as stitches go, how many do you need? Don't look at these here. We'll go over those after we finished crocheting. I'm just doing a sample swatch today of this chevron pattern. And we're starting it at the bottom and we're working up towards the peak. So that's how we'll start. So our ends will always be 12 stitches. And our centers will always be 13. So this swatch here equals 37 stitches, and then we add 1 for the turning chain. So we need 38 chains. So let me get started with that. We'll start with a slip knot. And we'll chain 38. And I will meet you back here once I've finished my 38 chains. Okay, I'm ready with my 37 stitches. We're going to go ahead and chain 1 and start in that 37th stitch, which is the second chain now from your hook, with a single crochet, and then up 5 stitches. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the 6th stitch, we're going to single crochet 3 single crochets in the same stitch. So 3, and then down, we're going to crochet down 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we skip 2 stitches, and then into that next stitch we'll single crochet and up 5. 1, up 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, let's look at what we have. We have a peak here. We have a valley, and we're starting another peak. So another peak is 3 single crochets in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to go down 5 stitches to the valley. And number 5. Now we're going to skip 2 stitches. Again, just locate those stitches, not the one you just worked in. 1, 2, and then in that 3rd stitch, we'll start going up 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And in the next stitch, we're going to create another peak with 3 single crochets in the same stitch. And now we have 5 stitches left. We're going to crochet 5 stitches down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're ready to start the next row. So we're doing 2 rows of each color. So we're not chaining. Are we chaining 1? Let's chain, yes, chain 1 and turn. And now the pattern changes, and it will always be like this throughout the project. We will single crochet 2 stitches together at the end. And that just ensures that our project will not lean out too far this way. And also we added a stitch to this side, so we needed to take 1 out. So that 2 stitches becomes 1 now. So we count that as 1 and go up 5. 2, 3, we go in the whole stitch. 3, 4, like so. And the 5th one is right here. So now we're in the peak again, and that is our center increase stitch from the row before. So we're going to go ahead and put 3 single crochets in that 1 stitch. And now we're going to single crochet down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to skip over 2 stitches, and that's our valley. And then we're going to crochet up 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now here we are again in the center stitch of our increase from the row before. We're going to put 3 single crochets in that stitch, and so on. So continue this pattern. Go down 5 stitches, skip 2, up 5, 3 in the second increase stitch from the row before, and then I'll meet you there and we'll finish this up. We're at the last row here. I just put in my increase stitches in the increase center stitch from the row below. So what we did down here is we single crocheted 2 together, so we need to match that at this end. We still need 5 stitches here. So if you remember, we increased here, so we actually added a stitch, so we're going to take one away down here. So this is our first stitch, 2, 3, 4, and don't get nervous. You have 2 stitches left, and you should. And that creates your 5th stitch on this side. So single crochet those together like so. Grab a loop, go into that stitch, grab a loop, and then we're going to start with our new color. So changing color, we're going to put our multicolor on next, and we're going to leave this here, but I'll show you how we're going to handle this as soon as we pull this through our 3 loops. So you always want to pull your new color yarn to finish off the last stitch of that row, so that it will be our new color when we start the new stitch. It's right where it belongs, and then our stitch below is still the color of this row. Hope that makes sense. So we'll go ahead and chain, before we chain 1, we want to put this over the top of our stitches, our first color, and then we go ahead and chain 1 that locks in this yarn here, so that when we need this, when we come back, it's closer to the top for us. So now we chained 1, we're going to turn our work, and we're going to do the same stitch pattern that we've done all along, or at least for the last 2 rows. And so let's snug this little piece up here a little bit, and we're going to single crochet 2 together again, and always at the beginning and the end of your project. So we go in and grab a loop, go in and grab a loop in the second stitch and pull through 3, and that creates 1 stitch, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we will increase in our second increase stitch from the row below. 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to do one more side with you, and then I'm going to leave you to it, and we'll do this end together. We'll get to the fun part after we do 2 rows of the multicolor. So we're going to put 5 stitches down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 2 stitches here, and then go up 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now our increase goes here. You see that's our second stitch in our increase round. We already worked the first one, and now this is the second, and we're going to go with 3 single crochets again. So our increase will always be 3 stitches in the peak. So continue this to the end. I'll meet you at that end, and then we'll do one more round of the multicolor. All right, I'm on my last row here. I have 5 stitches to do before we turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 together for 5. So we go in and grab a loop in that 1 stitch, and then in that last one, grab a loop and pull through all 3. We're not changing color this time until we get back down to this end again. So chain 1 and turn. Your single crochet 2 stitches together again and always on every end and every beginning. So that creates 1 stitch, and then go up, counting this stitch, 5 stitches, increase, down, 5 stitches, decrease, up 5, increase, down 5, decrease, up 5, increase, and then I will meet you at the end of this row and we'll start our fun pattern with our first color. Okay, I'm at the end here where I'm ready to single crochet 2 together, and make sure you turn that so you can find your 2 stitches, 1 and 2, because it does kind of hide around the corner there. When you have the 2 color, it kind of feels to me like it disappears a little bit. So go ahead and grab a loop in that stitch, and in the last stitch grab a loop. And now we're changing color back, so we're just going to drop that down for a second, pull our first color through those 3 loops. So we're ready to start our next row once we wrap our color we were just using over that, and then we'll chain 1 to lock that in. See how that works? So that locks that in so that it's up there when you need it the next time around. So again, we're going to, so this row is going to be different than all the other rows that we've done. So I will do this quite a few times with you so that you'll catch on. So we're going to go do the same thing at the end. We're going to single crochet 2 together and 1 more single crochet. So always 2 single crochet to start up, and then the little fancy stitch we're going to do here is going to go around the post. So find your center, increase here in the green multi, or whatever color that you had for your second color. There's a center here, then there's 2 stitches here. We're going to work around the post with a double crochet, and we'll see if the double crochet is tall enough. I think it is. So a double crochet here, and then again find that next one. It's right here. Go around the back of it and out through the front. Wrap your yarn, pull it through, pull off 2 loops and 2 loops. And now we're going to skip 2 here in the back, 1, 2, and then go into that one. That's our number 5 stitch. So we'll count that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now we're at the center increase stitch of our peak, and we're going to go ahead and do 3 single crochets in that stitch. 3, and then we're going to go down 1, So we're going to mirror what we just did on this side. So we have 1 stitch, then we need 2 double crochet post stitches. So I'll show you where those stitches are before we get to them. So they're here and here, and my yarn is kind of the same color up in that area, but I can see the post is right here. So those are the 2 stitches. We're going to double crochet around the post. So wrap your yarn, go behind that post, wrap your hook, pull that yarn through for a double crochet. And the next one is right here. So wrap your hook, pull that yarn through, through 2 and 2 loops, and skip 2 stitches, and we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, before we get to the valley. So that's our 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the other side again has started with 2 stitches, and then 2 double crochet front post stitches, and then a single crochet, and then our increase stitch. Okay, so let's move on to the valley, and we'll do another round just like the first round and the second round on this peak. So we skip 2 stitches here and single crochet, and like to snug this up a little bit. Single crochet 2 stitches before we start the front post double crochet. So wrap your hook, locate those stitches once again to the right of the center of the first row of your second color. So 1 and 2, go around that stitch, pull up that post, wrap your yarn, pull it through, pull off 2 and 2 loops, and again in the next one it's right next to it, and then a double crochet. So that's a front post double crochet on the 2 rows down. Is it 2? 1, 2, about 3. All right, we're going to skip 2 stitches here, 1, 2, and then we are going to single crochet here, and then we're going to single crochet 3 in the peak, 1, 2, and 3, and that is your center stitch from your increase from the row below. And then we're going to mirror that again, what we did on this side on the left. 1 single crochet and then right into our front post double crochet. 1, 2, and the next one is right next to it, right here. Just going to have to reach in behind that stitch, kind of pull that out a little bit. Put your yarn through, pull off 2 and 2. Skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then we put in 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. And that's our pattern for that. Isn't that so cool? See the hearts already? How cool is that? Skip 2 stitches and 2 single crochets again, 1 and 2, and now we're ready for our front post double crochets. Let me fix my yarn over here. A little bit tangled. All right, so now we've done 2 single crochets. They're ready for our front post, which are here and here. So I find my center here and I go over 2 stitches and kind of find that post, and then a double crochet. And in the next, same thing. Pull that loop through, go through 2 and 2, and now skip 2 stitches in the back here. If you turn it, you can find where you're going instead of trying to guess where that next stitch is. So single crochet 1. So that's your pattern for both sides. 2 single crochets and then 2 front post double crochets in a single. And then when we get to the center, we're going to increase with 3 single crochets. 2 and 3. And now we're ready for the single crochet, 2 double front post crochet. So 1 and 2, skip 2 stitches, 1 and 2 in the back, and just check them, make sure they're the unworked stitches, 1, 2, and then we're going into 2 more stitches. So on this side we have 2 stitches left and we only need 5, so we're going to single crochet those last 2 together like we always do on all the ends and all the beginnings, and pull that through like so. Chain 1 and turn. Now this row is the same as all our other rows from row 2 up. Single crochet 2 together. I'm going to do this with you because it does look a little wonky from the back with those double crochets in there, but it will straighten out. So 2 together, that's 1 stitch, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then our increase of 3 stitches in the same stitch. And then down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now it's starting to straighten a little bit more now. So we're going to skip 2 stitches here, and then we'll go into the next stitch, starting our counting up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Increase with 3 stitches, and so on. Okay, so continue that with your 5 stitches down, jump over 2, 5 stitches up, increase, and then 5 stitches down, and I'll meet you back here and we'll take a look at it. I'm at the very end of this round here on this row, and I've got 3 stitches left, so number 4. And again, those stitches hide. This one looks really tiny. I just wanted to show you, make sure you're checking for those 2 that you're going to single crochet 2 together. And then before you finish on this row, so we've done 2 rows of this color, we're going to start the multicolor once again. Pull that through. Before we chain 1, we're going to take that yarn over the top that we just used, over the top of this strand, and then we're going to lock that in with our chain 1, and then turn, and then you'll do 2 more rounds of the multicolor, and then you'll start this round again. So I'm going to do 2 more rounds of the multicolor, and I'll meet you back here, and we'll do 1 more round here with the double crochet, just in case someone out there didn't get it. If you did, go ahead and you can pause the video and wait or fast forward it to the end, because I'm going to go over some of those figures with you for different sizes. We're going to measure this and see where we're at. So 2 more rounds of the green, and then we'll start with the first color for 1 more row. Okay, if you need a refresher on the post stitch row, we're ready to start that. If not, fast forward and meet me at the chart that we're going to go over really quickly, and a couple other things. You'll want to stay tuned because we're going to figure out measurements for, let's say, a blanket if that's what you wanted to make. So let's start this round, just untangling here a little bit. And the very first stitch that we do again is single crochet 2 together. And remember, that's the beginning and ending of every round, except the very first round was not single crochet 2 together on the ends until we started round 2. So from round 2 on up, it's single crochet 2 together at the beginning and at the end. So that's 1 stitch and 2 stitches, always up 2, and then in for our post stitch. Again, it's left of the center right here of our multicolor round. we're going to go into, and make sure you're going into the same color post. You're not up a row by mistake. So into that stitch for a double crochet, front post, double crochet. And again, to the next one, front post, double crochet. And then skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then single crochet in the next. So that's our 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And our increase of 3 stitches here in the peak, and then 1 single crochet here, and now we're ready for our front post double crochet stitches. Okay. We're going to find that stitch just left of the center. We'll pull off 2 loops and 2 loops. And for the second one, go into that post again, pull your yarn through, pull off 2 loops and 2 loops, and skip 2, and then 2 single crochets. Completes that row of 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then continue that for the rest of this, and then we'll be back, measure, and look at our chart. A measure here of what our piece measures with for our swatch sample. Measures approximately, I'm going to say 8.5 inches for 3 peaks. So that can be a guesstimation for you for making a larger piece for a blanket or a scarf. This would be a great size for a scarf if you had some really nice, this is really soft yarn, so this will work out nicely. Once it's washed, I think it will lay better. So let's look at my figures over here for what you need for making this. If you don't want to see this, you can stop watching right here. So thank you for joining me. So for 4 peaks, your centers will always be 13 stitches, and your 2 ends will always be 12. So you add those up, and you have 50 stitches plus 1. You will always add 1 at the end of your chain for your turning chain. This approximately would equal 10 inches if you figured 2.5 inches per section. And so with 5 peaks, you've got 63 stitches plus 1. For 6 peaks, you've got 76 stitches plus 1. And again, just draw this up and put 12 at each end and 13 on all the center ones, and just add that up. And that's how you get how many stitches you need. And then that would equal about 15 inches wide. So you would have to almost double that. So I did do that for you. In the back here is 154 stitches for a 30 to 32 inch blanket. So, you know, it depends on your yarn and how loose you crochet, what size crochet hook you're using. So do a swatch. That's my advice to you, is to do a swatch and then draw this up and do your figuring. So that would be 154 stitches plus 1 for your turning chain. So if you're doing a really big blanket for, let's say, a bed or a big king size bed or something, the multiples are 13. So 13, 13, 13, 13 plus 24 stitches. So the 13s are all your centers, and the 24 are your 2 ends, 12 and 12. So I hope that was an informative enough video for you to get started on making this gorgeous heart. And look at our hearts. Aren't they cute? They're beautiful. I love them. I think they're really cute. So let me show you one more thing before I finish up this video. And I did try some different type of yarn. I just had to, because I have this Hygge yarn. And I'll show you this to you in 1 second. Get in the camera. Isn't this beautiful? The hearts seem bigger. The Hygge yarn is a 5-weight yarn, but it's not super thick. I've had 5-weight yarns that you almost need a 8 or 9 millimeter hook. This I used a 6.5, I believe, for that, or a 6. I think it was a 6 millimeter hook for that. And then I did, instead of the single crochets for these stitches here, I did a half double crochet, but That was a problem in this section here where you skip a stitch. The half double crochet was leaving a really big hole here. So what I did was half double crochet all but the last stitch before and after the 2 skip stitches, and I put a single here and a single here. So hopefully that's not too confusing if you try to use this hygge yarn. I feel like you could get away with using another 5-weight yarn, maybe 2 of the hygge type, and that's a red heart yarn. It's kind of a fleecy feel to it. But it's not fleece. It's very silky. It's very fun and nice to work with, and I think this one turned out so beautiful. I'm probably going to continue this one here and make a, or not continue this one. I'm probably going to make a blanket out of these 2 yarns together because I really like how this turned out. And again, the half double crochet was just chunks this up a little bit. And you can see the difference in the stitches here. The single crochets are much smaller in this area, and then here they're a little chunkier, kind of matches this yarn a little bit better. So with that being said, I didn't want to do a video on this here because this is a really specific type yarn that you have to play with it. It's not an easy pattern either. It's, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you would stitch your 5 stitches down here, and then when you get to your skip 2, just before that, those 2, do a single here and a single crochet here. And then the rest of the pattern is all the same, except, again, this yarn here has to be an extended double crochet. These 2 double crochet stitches has to be an extended double crochet, which is you take off 1 loop, 2 loops, and 2 loops for that. If you want a tutorial on how to do this one, let me know. I can see what I can throw together for you. So I hope this was a helpful tutorial for you. I hope you try and make this heart blanket. It's really beautiful. And you could do these heart rows. You could switch the color every 2 rows. And the back of it is pretty too. I mean, the back of this one is beautiful. And this one is so gorgeous. This one's my favorite. Can you tell? But again, this is still nice. I mean, the hearts are going to change color on the way up, which is kind of cool. Or you could use one of those, I don't know what they're called, color wave or something like that, where it gradually, like an ombre type thing. That would be really beautiful. So let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. Hopefully I answered all the questions you might have. And if you're off a stitch here and there, you know, it happens. You may be missing count on your 2 together. You may have forgotten the 2 together, or you may have not done your 3 stitches in the increased stitch. So make sure you double check that as you're going. And y'all have a great day. Leave me a comment in the comment section. Thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video.